3 offences in total: conspiring to import and supply Class A and B controlled drugs, conspiring to import and supply firearms and ammunition, and money laundering offences. Caution: you do not have to say anything. It may only be defence if you don't mention when questioned something which you later rely on the court, and anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you understand that caution?
I really appreciate you joining me today, and this story is about encrochat, and it involves 3 men that have been jailed for their involvement in what the police have said is an international cartel. This is the first time that I've ever seen officially the UK police say the Kinahan cartel, and this is due to the fact that in an Irish court they recently ruled that they was allowed to describe it as that as well, even though no one from the family have been convicted of anything to do with any of these cases. The National Crime Agency said that a man who ran the UK arm of a major international organised criminal network has been jailed today by the National Crime Agency. They have said in court that he is responsible for multi-million importations of drugs that arrived in the West Midlands. Irish national Thomas Bomber Kavanagh, 54 years old, they said was a high-ranking member of an Irish network that is involved in drug supply, firearms and also money laundering. The NCA raided a property in 2019 and they found numerous weapons, and one of them was an illegal stun gun, and he was eventually jailed for 3 years for possession of this. But this case goes back all the way to 2016. NCA officers seized £35,000 in various denominations, and they were stuffed in drawers, bags and down the back of sofas in his property. The raid was part of a wider investigation to dismantle a drugs empire. The NCA also targeted his associates. One of them was a Dublin man called Gary Vickery, and also Daniel Canning. I covered Gary Vickery's arrest in Spain previously on the channel, and NCA investigators were able to gather evidence of their involvement in large-scale shipments of drugs worth around 30 million in street value. They went on to say that Kavanagh, Canning and Vickery all admitted conspiracy to supply Class A and B drugs and money laundering, and Canning also admitted possessing a firearm with ammunition. At Ipswich Crown Court on the 28th of March 2022, Kavanagh was sentenced to 21 years in prison, and Canning was given 19.5 years, and Vickery was handed a 20-year sentence. The NCA Deputy Director of Investigations Matt Horn said Kavanagh was a high-ranking member of a cartel, an organised crime group synonymous with violence, and he was the main man in the UK. Through their criminal connections overseas, his organisation was able to organise, import and distribute drugs that were worth many millions of pounds. These men considered themselves untouchable, but we was able to dismantle the group and prove this was not the case. The investigation began in early 2016, and in January 2017, Irish police linked a number of seizures of drugs and weapons to a Midlands-based freight and logistics firm that was linked to Kavanagh, Vickery and a third Irishman called Martin Byrne. Vickery, Canning and Byrne were arrested in October 2017 following the seizure of 15 kilos of cocaine and 220 kilos of cannabis found in a 6-ton industrial tarmac removing machine at Dover. The drugs were hidden inside the machine, and this had a tracking device also fitted to it, and it was due to arrive in the industrial unit in Wolverhampton. This led the NCA officers to raid 2 industrial units, one of them in Wolverhampton and one of them in Wednesbury, and during the raid they found the shell of an industrial transformer that had traces of cocaine still inside. They also found a black bag that contained a handgun and also ammunition, and Byrne's DNA was found on the firearm and his fingerprints were on the bag as well. Investigators found a box full of tracking devices identical to the ones found on the machine seized at Dover, and officers raided Vickery's house in Solihull, and they recovered 25 kilos of boric acid that is often used as a cutting agent for cocaine. They discovered this alongside a cash counting machine, £45,000 in cash and 200,000 in euros. At the home of Canning in Dickens Heath, they found encrypted mobile phones, and information showed that Kavanagh was heading up the enterprise. There was messages between the group that referred to him as the gaffer, and he was also in contact with criminal associates in Europe to orchestrate the shipments. Kavanagh was arrested at Birmingham Airport as he returned to the UK on the 12th of January 2019. Communications between the group also provided evidence that involved at least 4 other importations via Dover in 2017, bringing the estimated street value to 23.4 million in that year alone. Cannabis importations over the same period were worth 6.4 million, and the trio pled guilty to the offences in July 2020. There was a lot of delays due to the COVID lockdown, and one of the suspects, Martin Byrne, died of cancer in August of 2018, so he could not be charged. A financial investigation that followed into Kavanagh and his associates with the aim of trying to strip them of any of the assets that they'd acquired through criminality. NCA officers have already obtained freezing orders on a number of high-value items. Some of them are watches, bikes and jewellery that have been seized as part of the proceeds of crime. And they've also taken Kavanagh's Tamworth mansion as well as his house itself. Vickery's property in Spain is also subject to a restraining order. So it's really interesting to see the police actually finalise this case that has been going on for several years as well. So I really appreciate you joining me for this episode, and I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and follow me online as well at Scarcity Studios on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter and Facebook. Peace.